Welcome back. It's now 7:30, and this is Morning Express. In case you're joining us now, welcome aboard. Agri Chebeda and Honorable James Gakuya are in studio, and we're basically going through the dailies. Before taking the break, we're looking at a story on page 2 of the Standard, where the puzzle of City Hall's huge black hole and one man pocketing millions. Of course, the question here being, are we really making any progress when it comes to the war against corruption and cartels? We already had your take, Honorable Gakuya. Let me hear from you, Agri Chebeda. Are we making progress in your opinion?
I think the war on corruption is a very long one, and the word war is correct. What we need is to win battles. These are the battles we are not seeing ourselves winning, because if we start winning a few battles, then we'll begin to see light at the end of the tunnel. We'll begin to have direction. When I come and look at this article, definitely the amount of money relative to the budget of the Nairobi County government is a fairly huge sum of money. However, I personally am a bit skeptical about it, for the simple reason that it is very long on detail, yet at the same time has completely fudged and does not told us who these companies are, who owns them, what the contracts were, how they were obtained. Were they obtained above board or are they not? So it's a bit of gossip, quite frankly. And,
okay, and investigations are still underway. Maybe there are reasons why those names have been withheld for now as the investigations go on. But in terms of the institutions that we have in place, we have the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, we have the judiciary, we have quite a number of institutions in Kenya that are in place which are there and to ensure that we stop all this pilferage and leakage. Mheshimiwa, should we reduce on them given that we don't seem to be making that much progress? Or do you feel that maybe there is progress that's being made, it's just that it's not hit the surface?
My take is that corruption war is a war that should be collective. And having some few number of agencies that are entrusted to fight with this particular vice is not enough. Because what you find that, in fact, even those who are entrusted to fight this vice are also part of compromise. And when they have become part of the compromise, then it tells you that it will be very hard for you to get a result at the end of the day. And therefore, if the compromise is at the corridors of cost, if the compromise is at corridors of investigation, then you don't expect much out of this particular.
So is the problem the individuals, in your opinion? Because
I am telling you, as a Kenyan, we have a very big problem that actually it's like we have inherited this particular vice of corruption, almost everybody of us. And unless we get to a redemption as a nation,
one might argue, Mheshimiwa, that that's why we have a government. That's why we have institutions in place. And if they cracked the whip and did it properly, then the culture will change. The issue is that even those put in positions to fight it are not doing it. And as a result, everybody gets away with it.
I can tell you, we must trust that, in fact, these offices are services, and these services are led by taxpayers' money. And we expect to get good results out of this. But you expect that when the cases get caught, then you get a resolve. You can't get it there. You find that most of these particular cases are being weakened during investigations, because actually those these cases kill them during their reports in the investigation. And therefore, when the matters get to the table of the judge has not much to do, because the evidence is not enough to convict the victim. And therefore, you lost the whole case. And therefore, that's what I'm saying. If it's a rotten area, and I don't know what should be done, so that at least those entrusted with this can be able to give a result as expected. Because what we are not getting is results out of these agencies.
Okay.
We have anti-corruption, we expect a lot. Then we are seeing doom. We have DCI who was doing much about 1 year or two. Today he has gone down. Then you find we had a DPP who was doing much, 1 year or two, it's now gone down. Then you feel, where is this war?
Okay, and well, one might ask the question, on what basis do you say that they've reduced or gone down, but maybe they're still working, but just the fact that it hasn't hit the newspapers may not mean they're not working. But Agri, your thoughts on whether the issue that we have is purely down to the people that run the institutions, because they're only as strong as the people who are running them?
I think from what I've seen, there's been a mixed bag. There's been an effort to try and get some corruption cases to fruition and to end, but they have not succeeded. If I start with the DPP, I think the DPP, in my opinion, has done a pretty exemplary job, but has been eventually overwhelmed probably by the number of cases that come. But at the other end of the tunnel, they are not getting out, meaning the prosecutions are not leading to the end of the trials and convictions. So the pipeline begins to get a bit congested. If I go to the DCI, I think they started off very well working together. My problem with the DCI has been they are trying to use the media to investigate cases, whereby a lot of information is leaked, a lot of names are put out long before investigations are complete. And this actually, I think, gives opportunity for a lot of people to shift and change their positions. I'll just digress a bit and go to America, where the other day it was disclosed that the son of Joe Biden, president-elect, has been under investigation. And he's been under investigation for about 3 or 4 years, they disclosed. He only knew for a fact that it was happening 2 weeks ago. So sometimes it's very important to keep things under wraps. Yeah, and so that you really get close to where you want to get before you announce what you want to announce. But ultimately, I think the political arm needs to give more support. And then I think the judiciary also. There is too much of cases getting into the judiciary and getting stuck on a lot of legal technicalities, which just go on and on and on. Perhaps the judges and the magistrates need to sit together and come up perhaps with a new way of handling some of these cases, including trying their best not to get cases just postponed due to technicalities, which sometimes you can see it happening, whereby cases just frivolous sideshows take place, and 5 years after a case started, nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened, all right? And that is what we have on the standard. Let's quickly look at the Daily Nation before we now change focus and take a look at Msambweni. But we have the Daily Nation with the headline, State House run too big a risk. And this, of course, is in light and assuming that the Building Bridges initiative is adopted as it is during the referendum, where we have the position of Prime Minister being created, and the Prime Minister would have to be a member of Parliament. Now, this particular story is highlighting this in light of some of those who'd want to run for the presidential seat, meaning they would have to take that, and if you don't get the presidency, then you're out in the cold. Whereas if you took the position of member of parliament, then you have a chance of even becoming either prime minister or deputy prime minister. Let me start with you, Mheshimiwa. Your thoughts on this and just how that is likely to change the political landscape.
My take on this is that this is a big landscape, because what is proposed by the BBI is that we have now created a room which was sealed there before by the current constitution. And this is any contender who was a presidential contender could not be able to access to parliament either through a nomination and also that element of being elected. But this has now opened a window where if you have a desire to be a prime minister one day, then you must seek a parliamentary seat. If you have a desire to become a cabinet minister, probably you must have to contest for a parliamentary seat, because that way you can be appointed to the cabinet from the parliament, and you can also be appointment to the prime minister from the parliament. This tells you that actually the parliamentary seats will become so hot that most of those governors who are exiting their 2 terms, and those who feel that actually they will not be comfortable in other fields out there, as you should cling in what we call politics, then you find them coming back and fighting to what we call parliamentary positions, because that is only where he can be able to have an entry point to a cabinet position or a premiership, or probably a deputy premiership. Therefore, to me, I can say the MCA positions are very competitive. Then there's another window which will create now the constituencies or the parliamentary seats also very competitive.
All right, and maybe your thoughts, Agri Chabeda, on how this is going to change the political landscape.
Personally, I think the expansion of positions on paper is going to reduce tension that has been there every time there is an election. However, I would have liked to see a system where there is some guarantee of the smaller communities getting into positions of power. This is not implicitly said anywhere. It's just assumed that it will happen. Secondly, I have never understood the reason why the people who stand for president cannot also be holding other political positions. If you look at many other jurisdictions, they either maintain the position they have, and if and when they become president, they then relinquish that position. I think that would be a much better option, because I don't see any reason why, if somebody wants to be a president, he must become nothing if he loses.
If he loses.
Yeah.
All right, and well, that's what we have on the dailies this morning, and I'd like us now to change focus and maybe just take a look at Msambweni, where the, well, people go to the polls in Msambweni, and of course this has been a very, very interesting campaign to witness and to watch, mainly because it has quite a number of implications and things that it may mean. One of them, of course, being the fact that Jubilee did not field a candidate, and this is because of what they're saying is in light or in support of the handshake. But we also saw the deputy president go behind an independent candidate, which again was seen to be going against the party's position. So, of course, there's quite a lot of things to look on this. And let me start with you, Mheshimiwa, on what you see as playing up in the ground. There are those who argue that this result will likely give us an indication of how even the BBI is likely to go. Do you agree?
Personally, I don't agree with that. One is that Kwale is a county by itself. And Kwale County has a governor who was elected on a Jubilee ticket. And then tells you that it was not automatic that when the governor is elected on a Jubilee ticket, you get all the rest of the other parliamentary and MCA positions. And that's how you found that ODM also gained number of members of parliament. And also we had independent candidate, Mwashetani, and I don't know whether it was independent or another party, but selected out of ODM. And also, I would say other contenders got elected using other mechanism. This therefore tells me the people of Msambweni today it's their D-Day to cast their vote. Their former member of parliament had what you call reigning relationship with the deputy president, but this is not a guarantee that this will give the deputy president a clear ticket to garner that particular position. Also, the ODM is not very clear, is not very sure that also they will carry the day, because at the end of the day, what matters is what Wajiko feels he is supposed to be. Because I have seen it has been a big battle where you find there is a Mombasa governor, Joho, who is trying also to outshine the incumbent governor, and it's like he wants to become the super governor of the coast with very massive campaign towards making sure that the ODM is not losing this particular position. To me, I would say the power is with Wanjiku. The campaign has already closed. And today is the D-Day.
All right. So we wait and see. All right, Agri, what are your thoughts on why the stakes have been so high from Msambweni and why there's been such huge support? One of the things, of course, that was expected is that the deputy president maybe would go to the ground and campaign for the independent candidate Faisal Badar, but that did not happen. Why do you think the stakes have been so high?
I think the stakes are high for a very simple reason. Number one, this post, which was held by the MP's position by the late Suleiman Dori, was the ODM MP. Now, with the handshake having come and BBI also being in the mix, the pressure, I think, is on ODM to win the seat, because if they lose it, even after Jubilee have given them a through pass in a way by not fielding a candidate, it will send certain signals which will definitely be latched upon by the deputy president and other opponents of ODM as we go into the BBI, and they will use it to their best, and definitely they will do it again in 2022, because that's the way of politics.
What are your thoughts on the ODM leader Raila Odinga saying that this would also give an indication, or rather what he said is that if they lose the Msambweni seat, then it's likely that the BBI is going to give them difficulty. What do you see that as a fair statement?
I think he's almost stating a little bit of the obvious, but at the same time being a little bit ingenious and being a politician. The fact is, I think he expects they are going to win, and therefore probably he's saying that with a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Of course, there's no guarantee that they will win. But definitely, if they lose the position, number one, there'll be one MP less, and number two, they will have given ammunition to their opponents, especially in the region, to push the narrative that that ODM is not the right party, and that some other party is the right party.
All right.
So, yeah.
Mheshimiwa Gakuya, do you think that this would really be a negative thing for ODM and the handshake should they lose to the deputy president? Because obviously it was expected, now that Jubilee was not fielding a candidate, then it would obviously be an ODM landslide win, but the deputy president, so to speak, threw a spanner into the works.
Obviously, even though it was a civic seat or a ward seat, a win, it makes a lot of statement. A lose also makes a statement in politics. And therefore, the end result, if the independent candidate happens to carry the day, then it tells you, and what will happen tomorrow, the papers will report that the combination of handshake has been fraud by the deputy president. And therefore, politically, it's a mileage step forward by on that particular winner. And if it still carries the day for the deputy, for the president and Raila Odinga, then also to them it's a statement. It will also create firmness of the handshake, and also it will cement that the arrangement towards their drive for BBI and also their plans for the future 2022.
All right, Agri, do you think that this would then again make the relationship between the president and the deputy president a little frostier, especially if there was any chance that the independent candidate Faisal would take the seat?
Yes, I think it would just make it a little more complicated in their relationship. It already is very complicated, and it would just make it that much more difficult to interact going forward, because very definitely the deputy president would get bolder in the way he is strategizing in the region and in the whole country.
All right, and well, your comments are welcome. Remember, the hashtag is KTN Morning Express, and if you'd like to tweet, it's at KTN News KE, or you can tweet me directly, and that's at Michael G. Gitonga. Your thoughts on this? Of course, we're going to be moving to, or rather, going to our reporter, Tobias Chanji, who's on the ground later on, but this is in regards to Msambweni. And moving forward, what does this mean, Mheshimiwa, in regards to the BBI, when we look at what's happening there, and the fact that the Deputy President seems to be what we'd call a sore thumb, and literally seems to be against or on the other side of the handshake. And this, of course, for him, maybe is also a test just to see how strong and how much influence he may have. What do you think is likely to happen should his candidate come out stronger?
One is that I don't want to read his body language, but I would assume that if we manage victors in this particular Msambweni seat, then it tells you that it's also giving extra spirit, and he may become. It may also harden his stand in what we call the BBI, because here what we are trying to weigh is where this nation, this house of a nation is, and where this team calling itself handshakes is. And I think today's is a very critical day, because the Deputy President have decided to go away out of his Jubilee and supporting a clear independent candidate out of the arrangement made by the party of the Jubilee to support ODM candidate. And therefore, victory today of that particular candidate, I am telling you, is a big mileage to the Deputy President.
It would be big mileage.
And it will also harden his stand. He may also harden his stand towards the BBI out of this.
All right. Do you think that would likely give a bit more boldness to the Deputy President, Agri, should his man come out stronger?
Yes, I think that's very definite. You'd see him come out, and in his strategy, he'd begin to have a go at the BBI, assuming that he's not going to go with it, because right now we still don't know exactly where he is. We know he's definitely not for it, but he has sort of toned down the rhetoric. Definitely, if his man that he endorsed wins, you will see him begin to ask that BBI, the changes that he wants, he'll be bolder in saying they must be incorporated before we move forward.
And of course, maybe saying that the handshake is not as strong as many would have thought. We are running out of time, so maybe just your closing remarks. I'll start with you, Mheshimiwa, and possibly advice to the people of Msambweni as they go to the polls.
My advice to my good people of Msambweni is that today is their day. Their king who fallen was a very good king, was my good friend in parliament, and we shared a lot. I wish that, in fact, they will be able to have somebody who will be able to fit in the shoes of the fallen member. And therefore, I would urge them, use their sobriety, use their intelligence, make sure that they elect somebody that they are sure that will give them the results that they desire.
All right. Agri, your closing remarks.
Yeah, I would just like to tell the people of Msambweni as they go to vote that their vote is very important. Nobody should stay at home. It's very easy to assume that your vote does not matter. Every vote matters. And I would also like to urge the parents and of the constituency to sort of close their ears to some of the things that have been said and done by the politicians, and just look ahead, and may the best man win.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. That is Agri Chabeda, who's a governance expert, and Honorable James Gakuya, Member of Parliament, Embakasi North. Thank you for joining us this morning to look at the press review and also just matters to do with Msambweni. For now, it's 5 minutes to 8 o'clock. We're going to take a short break right here on Morning Express, but do stay with us if you can.